Okay, so we have seen different types of storage structure, okay, for storing the graph elements. Okay, so we can store the graph elements in two types of structure. Actually it's kind of three structure, but in your syllabus it was only two. One is adjacency matrix, the other one is adjacency list. Okay, so adjacency matrix, where the drawback is that it takes much space, where it takes a quadratic or a two-dimensional space. If it is like a n elements, then n by n elements are required, n square elements are required to store the edges as well as vertex in a computer storage. So that was the drawback in case of adjacency matrix. So this is the last slide we have seen, and we have seen that the adjacency matrix has zeros as the diagonal. Okay, so diagonal matrix will be 0. Okay, so this is an example of another graph where we are going to represent the elements and elements, in the sense we are about the vertex and the edges in matrix format. So all the one represents the connection between two vertex. Okay, so wherever the one is there, it is said to be there are edges are there, and if it is 0, there is no connection between those two edges. Okay, wherever 0. So we have seen this. Since it is what undirected graph, we can find the diagonal elements as zeros. Okay, and this is the one that what is the necessary to store these elements into the computer storage. Okay, the two basic operation is that finding the adjacent nodes. If I want to find the adjacent node or adjacent vertex of A, okay, for example, if I want to find an adjacent vertex, okay, what are the adjacent vertex of A? This A is represented as 0 with the index 0. Okay, then directly I can't go directly to find A, right? It's not possible. I have to mark this A as the index 0. Then I can have separate table also. You can have a hash table also to match the key with the alphabet. That separately you can have, where the A should be matched. If you're having like string also, instead of A, you're having some string character array you are having, then I should match what, this character array to particular index, right? I cannot directly search for a with the alphabets here. So in case of adjacent matrix, we will have only index, right? We don't have any alphabets here. So that is the one problem here, where we will convert this corresponding alphabets to its index. Okay, that we can have a hash table also. We have studied hash table. Okay, so I want to find then adjacent vertex of elements of the vertex A. Okay, so I'll go directly to this 0th row. Okay, then I can find that I will traverse. I will look for the values whether it is 1 or not. For each and every cell, I will go and look into that. Okay, so I'll reach until the last node, until I will reach the last node. That's why it is the order of vertex. So number of vertex in the graph. Why? Because this is nothing but what, the number of vertexes, right? This is the number of vertexes. This is also number of vertexes in the graph. For the 0th vertex, okay, who are all the adjacent elements? Okay, so for this I have to search each and every what cells, whether it is 1 or 0. In this way we'll find it. So here what I'm trying to say is that the worst case to find an adjacent element or adjacent vertex of a particular node is that order of V. Okay, if I want to find whether two nodes are connected, okay, for example, I want to know that A and C, or for example, we'll take this element, we'll take this cell. So nothing but 7 and 4. So 7 represents what? H here, and 4 represents E. So I can directly find go directly to the 7, 4. I can find the value of 7 comma 4. If it is 1, I can say that it is connected. So it requires only order of 1. It takes only constant time to find whether the find the nodes are connected or not. It takes constant time for any operation, for any connection. I take only constant time, like hashing. We have seen hashing, right? Hashing takes constant time to search an element. Okay, like this we are finding the basic. These are the basic operations in adjacent matrix as well as adjacency list. So apart from the graph, apart from this two, okay, I am finding the adjacent elements as well as whether the nodes are connected. Apart from this, there are another operations, the basic operation like insert. I want to insert a vertex into the graph. Okay, so once I want to insert a graph, insert a vertex into the graph, I should create an edge between the particular vertex, right? That is another kind of operation. Okay, so basic operation is that insertion. I want to display the graph. I want to delete a vertex. Okay, once I delete a vertex in a graph, what happens? Automatically the edges should be disconnected, right? Okay, we'll see adjacency list here. So adjacency list, every node is linked to its own list that contains the names of all other nodes that are adjacent to it. Okay, so what is the advantage of adjacency list over adjacency matrix? Here we can find when you take this eight cells, when you take the first row, it consists of 8 cells. Okay, only three cells are utilized properly, efficiently. Why? Because these are only connected, where it means that 0 1, okay, it means that 0 1 is connected and 0 2 is connected. For example, we will consider it is a weighted graph. Okay, so don't compare with this graph because this is an undirected graph. So here A is connected to B, A is connected to D, A is connected to C. Okay, only these 3 cells are utilized efficiently. Okay, what about the remaining? It is 0, right? So it is waste of storing this element 0. It is waste of storing the element 0. This is overcome in case of adjacency list. Okay, got it. You take this example, take the second row. So only 2 cells are utilized properly, efficiently utilized. What about the case of remaining? When you take the remaining, it is not connected. Those vertexes are not connected. Okay, so this drawback is overcome by the adjacency list. I hope you understood. So advantages: it is easy to follow and clearly shows the adjacent nodes of a particular node. Okay, directly it will tell what are the nodes are connected, what are the adjacent nodes connected to the particular vertex. Okay, it is often used for storing graph that have a small to moderate number of edges. That is important. What we already told, only sparse graph. When you take sparse graph, sparse is nothing but we are having limited number of edges. Okay, so sparse graph represents that only limited number of edges are in the graph. In that case, we can go for adjacency list. That's why they are mentioning that small to moderate number of edges. So adding new nodes in G is easy. Yes, adding in a new node in G or a new vertex in G, graph G is easy and straightforward when G is represented using the adjacency list. Okay, adding is very easy in case of adjacency list. So what is the inference we are getting? That from the representation of graphs, so dense graph can be preferred for the adjacency matrix. Okay, for sparse graph we can prefer adjacency list. So this is the thing you have to remember in case of sparse and dense graph. Okay, we will see the representation of adjacency list. See, so this is the graph, first graph. So this represents what are the vertex in the graph. You can make it as 0 also. If you want to make a as 0, a 1 2 3, you can make it also, no problem. We have to convert, we have to map the alphabet to the corresponding key value. Okay, I have to given value to the key, right? That is another step. But here we for this example we can take directly the what vertex value. So a is connected to, this is a directed graph, a is connected to b and c. So here what, this b and c is connected in fashion linked list fashion, right? Here using the linked list data structure to store the vertex, right? Same like b is connected to d and c, right? C and D, or vice versa, whatever the case. So here C and D is connected. So this is the representation of adjacency list. Where we are ignoring the what? When you take A, we are ignoring the D. Why? Because it is not connected. Whereas in case of matrix, we have to store the value as 0 for uh, connection node, connection edge A and D. Here it is not like that. Okay, this is the advantage of adjacency list. And you take the undirected graph. See, this is the directed graph. First one is example directed, and this is undirected graph. We take a is connected to b and d, simple. Okay, and when you take b is connected to a c d, a c d. So like that we can connect in linked list representation. Linked list representation also we can able to connect, or you can take it as array also. I can do like this. I can connect, like I can use array structure also. That is also possible. It depends upon your memory usage. B D B D. I can use this also instead of linked list. I can use array also. Okay, if it is why? Because we are going for a linked list, because we can dynamically create a node, right? If a new vertex is coming into the graph, okay, example H is coming. H is coming. It is connected to A. Okay, I will, what I will do, I'll create a new node here. Okay, I will create a new node. I can insert it. That is also if like if the character array, yes, x is null only. Yes, it is end of the array. So x represents here null. So it means that end of the list. End of the list. Okay, fine. So I can able to store this in array also, in linked list also. That is your wish. Okay, fine. Next, this is the with weighted graph. When you take weighted graph, one more data has been come. Okay, apart from the edge, apart from the uh, connection, we have another data. So what we are doing, we are taking 3 fields in the definition. So the same thing you are going to declare. Okay, same thing you are going to declare for using a structured data type. Okay, here you use only 2 fields in case of undirected and directed graph without weight. Whereas here you are using, if you are using weighted graph, then I have to go for another field. That's all, simple. So what is the inference from this representation? So directed graph, the sum of the length of all adjacency list is equal to the number of edges. Okay. So this is what the inference we are. In case of directed graph, we can tell that what, it's equal to the number of edges. See how many uh, edges are there. I mean, how many vertexes are there? How many connections are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, from this we can come to know how many edges are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the inference we are getting from the directed graph. Okay, so the sum of the length of all adjacency list. So this is the adjacency list, right? This is the adjacency list for all. I'm summing all the adjacent list, then it is equal to the number of edges in the directed graph. That's all. In case of undirected graph, what it is twice, right? It should be twice only, obviously. Why? Because it is not there's no direction. It will be twice the number. Okay, it will be twice the number in case of what it will be 14. So in this case it what it will be different. 1 2 3 4 5, it will be 10, right? 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. How many here? 3 4 5 6 edges. Okay, in this case of graph, second graph, there is 6 edges, so the sum of the adjacency list is 12. Okay, so this is the inference we are getting from this type of graph. Okay, so how this is represented adjacency list? Okay, I can use a dynamic pointer also. I can use dynamic pointer also. Here, what is a of 0 represents? A of 0. So this is the dynamic integer pointer. Okay, this is representing. So this is a array of integer pointer where each and every value will store what? The pointer of or array of integers, right? So this is what, when you take this one, it is an array of integer. So each and row is nothing but what? Array of integer. So this is what adjacency list representation. Here we are not showing the linked list. Okay, for previous slide I have shown with the understanding concept. For understanding I shown with the linked list. Here it's not shown with the linked list, right? You can make it as linked list also, no issues. So this is what represents the number of vertex in the graph. So 0 to 7, nothing but 8 vertex in the graph. Okay, so each and every vertex, how it is connected. Okay, I can use like I can declare like this also. Okay, so this is representing the array of pointer pointing to what? Array of integers. Okay, so like this, when you take a of 2, it can store integer of 2 integers, right? Okay, so what is the comparison here? How we are going to compare, right? We will compare in based upon the finding the adjacency nodes, right? Finding the adjacency node and connection is there or not between the two nodes. So in this way we are going to compare the adjacency matrix as well as adjacency list. So this is the common graph for both the representation. Okay, so for finding adjacency vertex, adjacency node or adjacency vertex, it takes what? Only order of v. Okay, order of v. What about the case of adjacent list? Also the same thing. Why? Because I have to traverse from, I have to check for each and every element, right? It is connected or not. It is 0 and 3 is connected or not. Okay, first I will check, no, it is not there. Oh, it is not there. So I will keep on check. For example, if this 0th vertex is connected to all the vertices of graph in all the vertex graph, it means that it will be there what? 4, 5, 6, 7. It will be like this. It will be like this. Then I will check the adjacent node. I have to check for all the elements. That's why it is order of v. Order of v is nothing but the number of vertex in the graph. Okay, if two nodes are connected, how will you find? It takes only order of 1, constant time. But it is not like so in adjacency list. Okay, it has to check for all the elements. This is a drawback in case of what? Adjacency list. Okay, fine. Okay, if you want to add a new edge into the graph. Okay, this is the previous one. Previously it was like this. Okay, it was like this, like G and A is not connected previously, and after I'm making an edge between A and G. So what is a simple thing in case of adjacency matrix? Earlier it was 0. So A represents 0 now. Okay, A is represents 0, and G is representing 6. Okay, earlier it will be 0. Okay, now when I make a edge between A and G, simply what will I do? I will flip the value. Earlier it was 0, now I will flip to 1. Simple in case of adjacent matrix. Here what will I do? I will create another, if the memory is exhausted, or the thing is that I have to create a new node for this. Okay, so in that case it will be somewhat different between what adjacent matrix and adjacent list. We want to add a new edge, I have to create a node for new node for in case of adjacency list. It's not like so in adjacent matrix, just I'll flip the value. That's all, simple. If I want to connect between B and 5, B and F, so B is nothing but 1 and 5. So here 1 and 5. So it is connected. Okay, fine. Already is connected. We'll do like this. B and H. I want to connect to B and H. B value is what? 1. H is 7. H is 7. So this is the value. So what will I do? I'll make it to flip the value 0 to 1. Or if I want to delete the node, sorry, I want to delete an edge. If I want to delete edge between B and F, nothing but 1 and 5. So 1 and 5 you need to take it. 1 and 5. Okay. Already it was 1. If I want to delete the edge, I will make this as 0. Simple. So this is a simple operation in case of adjacency matrix as well as adjacent list. Here what will I do? I have to delete a connection between 1 and 5. I will remove this connection in case of adjacency list. I will delete a node. I will delete a node in the adjacency list, right? I will delete this node. So this is the linked list representation. The same thing we have seen. We are creating a node, structure node. What I shown earlier, the same thing, that is using integer pointer. Here I am creating a node itself. Okay, creating a node. So this is a array of a pointer of array of which data type? Struct node. Keep it in mind. This is a pointer of array of data type struct node. Fine. This is a of 0. Okay, a of 1, like that. Okay, it will take what? How many data byte? How many bytes it requires? It requires only 2 bytes. Why? Because it is going to store the address. It's going to store the address. Nothing but a of 0. It's going to point to the first row. Okay, it is nothing but a of 0, a of 1, like that it goes on. So it will be the address of the first node in the second row. Okay, fine. So if you want to add weight, what will I do? Just I'll include another data, integer weight. Already it was data. I have only one part, 2 fields, data field and the next field. So in addition to that, I want weight in that. So I'll create what? I'll simply add integer weight. Simple. Okay. So this is the program for creating a graph of n vertices using adjacency list. Okay, this what will I do? I'll take a separate video tutorial for this and share with you. Okay, for this program I'll create a separate video tutorial and will share with you. Next, graph traversals. Topic is that graph traversal algorithm. So we have seen in tree also, tree data structure, we have seen traversal algorithm like in order, pre-order, post-order, okay, and level order. All those 4 types of traversal technique will fall under any of the 2 type, breadth first search and the depth first search. Okay, here we have 2 types of major, the traversal algorithm is classified into two types. One is breadth first search and depth first search. Okay, when you are applying the breadth first search algorithm into the graph, you will use a auxiliary data structure Q. Okay, you'll use the auxiliary data structure Q to store the nodes. Okay, for the operation, I'm using Q data structure, QADT. Already I told ADT is nothing but abstract data type. Okay, they may call stack ADT, linked list ADT, tree ADT, graph ADT. Okay, all are abstract data type. So other one is depth first search, where it uses stack ADT. Stack ADT as the auxiliary data structure to store the nodes. Okay, so when when we are applying the algorithm, these are the basic things we have to know. So what is the status of the node? Okay, so the graph traversal is nothing but what we are going to visit all the node in the graph. That's all. That's what we have seen in tree also. We are visiting all the nodes. The same thing in case of graph traversal, we are going to visit all the vertex in the graph. Okay, and we have the advantage also. Why we are traversing? What is the necessary to traverse the using breadth first search or depth first? There is an application also that we'll see. Okay, so before getting into that, we have to know while applying the algorithm, what is the status of every vertex in the graph. If it is 1, it means that the particular vertex is in ready state. Okay, if it is 2, it is in waiting state. Okay, if it is 3, it is processed. The particular vertex is visited. It's meaning like that, it is visited. I'll show here. So if it is like 3, it means that what node n has been completely processed. If it is 2, n is placed on the queue or stack. Right now it is in the stack like that, or it is in the waiting stage. So breadth first search traversal for a graph is similar to breadth first traversal of a tree. Okay, begins at the root node or any node. Here we are saying that first we are seeing the breadth first BFSS. We can start from any node or root node, that is your wish. Okay, and start exploring all the neighboring nodes or nothing but the adjacent nodes. Okay, when I take any node, then I'll try to explore all other nodes which is connected to the particular node. Okay, like that I will keep on traversing all the nodes until I visit all the nodes in the graph. Then for each of those nodes, if I find any node, then I will visit what or explore all other nearest node. Okay, here a queue is used to hold the nodes that are waiting. So what is the data structure? Auxiliary data structure used for BFS is queue. Okay, variable status is used. Okay, fine, to know the current situation or current state of the text. So what is the BFS logic? What is the logic technique is that visit vertex, visit any vertex, then start exploring the adjacent vertex of the current node. That is the meaning here. Okay, so I have shown here two graphs. Okay, we told that it is not a tree. Tree is actually a special kind of graph. Okay, then what I am starting here from 0. For example, I am starting from 0. I am visiting the node 0. Okay, fine. Okay, then what is the condition? That once I visit the node, any node, I will explore the adjacent nodes or neighbor nodes to the current node. Who are the current nodes, neighbors for this? Who are the connected ones? This is the undirected graph. Okay, fine. So 1, 2, 3. These are the adjacent nodes to 0. Then I will start visiting those. Okay, I'll just simply visit. Okay, 1. So who are the adjacent to 0? 1, 2, 3. Finished. Then what will I do? Then after that, I will take the first adjacent node. Okay, then I start exploring those. So who is the first adjacent node? 1. Okay, so 1 I cannot write again 1 in the list. I cannot 1 again in the output. Why? Because the 1 is already visited. I will take the 1 who are all the neighbor or adjacent node to 1. So it is 4 and 5. Okay, 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 4 and then I'll just write in the output 4 and 5. Okay, finished. Then I'll go to the next adjacent node. Okay, 2. So 2 I cannot write 2 because it is already visited. Then I'll write the who are all the adjacent. Only 6 is adjacent, so I'll write 6. Then come back to the node 3, last adjacent node of 0. Okay, then I'll find what 7. Only 7 is there. So here we have for a 2, sorry, for the 2 we have what 6 as well as 7. I forgot. You can find. So for the vertex 2, vertex 6 and 7 are adjacent to vertex 2. So I have to write, while I'm visiting vertex 2, I have to explore the node 6 and 7 as well. Why? Because it is connected, because it's little bit light, that's why it's not visible. Okay, then when I take okay, then 6 and 7 are completed. Then I'll go to the node, last node of adjacent node of 0. It is what 3. Okay, I will explore, try to explore the node 7. I cannot write output in the write in the output. Why? Because it is already visited, so it is in the list, so I will leave it. So this is the final BFS of the particular graph. Okay, I can start from any node. I have taken from the root node. You can start from 1 also, no issues. I can start from 1. Okay, who are all adjacent to 1? I will write 0, 4, 5, comma. Then I will go for 0. So you work it out. Okay, you take this as a homework and you work it out. Then we'll come for an example of directed graph. Okay, here it is directed. Here we are not starting from 0. I can take any random vertex. Here we are taking 2. Okay, so I return 2. Starting element is 2. Okay, fine. Who are all neighbors to node 2? So we can't simply tell that 0, 3, 1. We have to, since it is direct graph, we have to look for the direction. So 3 and 0. 1 is not adjacent. Okay, it's not a neighbor node. Only in degree of 2 is there. So there is no out degree to 1. Okay, emerging edges to 1. So I can write what 0, comma 3. I can write vice versa. It is your wish. I can write 3, comma 0 also. Okay, no issues. No issues in that. Okay, 0, comma 3 or 3, comma 0. It is your wish. Okay, it can be any order. Okay, then I will take what 0. Okay, so because I explored vertex, I explored the adjacent vertexes of 2. It is 0 and 3. Then I will take now 0. So who are all, I will now I start exploring the adjacent or neighbor vertex of 0. So it is 1 and 2. It is 1 and 2. Okay, I'll write 1. I won't write 2. Why? Because it is already visited. I will simply ignore it. Okay, next I will take adjacent element 3. Okay, so 3 is what? It's already what it is 3. So we don't have what any adjacent neighbors of 3. Okay, since it is self loop also, when you take self loop, it is what visiting the same node 3. Okay, and it is also already visited here. So it is already visited here, so I'll simply ignore it. So that BFS of the given graph is 2, 0, 3, 1, or you can have 2, 3, 0, 1. It can be also like that, no problem. Okay, so next okay, so we'll take another example. We told that we have to store the vertex into the queue, right? So with the example, we'll see the how the BFS is working. Okay, this is the given node. Sorry, this is the given graph. Okay, and we have taken 2 arrays. One is visited, one is queue. Okay, so when I take 0, so first I am taking 0. Okay, so who are all connected to 0? So I'm writing 1, 2, 3. Okay, so for 0 vertex, okay, who are all adjacent? 1, 2, 3. So I am enqueuing the vertex 1, 2 and 3 into the queue. Fine, I am enqueuing. Just enqueue, add the elements into the queue, and I right now visited 0, right? I am writing into the visited array. Okay, fine. Next, what will I do? Then I have to start exploring the elements. Okay, elements of what, or the vertexes of each and every node 1, 2 and 3. Then I will what, dq, I will dq what, 1. I will dq 1. Okay, then I am visiting dq 1. I'll write into the visited array. Okay, this is what happening. So I am dqing 1 and adding into the visited array. Fine, then what happens? So one is, it means that what, once I dq, okay, once I started visiting, so who are all the adjacent to the vertex 1? Who are all adjacent to vertex 1? So blue color is highlighted with uh, visited. Right now there is a current node. Okay, so who are all adjacent to vertex 1? 2 and 0, right? 2 and 0. 2, 0 is already visited, right? Already visited. I don't want to bother about that. It is in the visited array. Okay, I don't want to bother. Then who are all uh, in the sorry, the other one adjacent to vertex 1 is what, 2. Okay, so that one I am writing into the visited array. Fine. Next, what will I do? Next, I will remove 2, dq 2. Once I dq 2, what happens? So I have to visit what, the elements, what I have only, what, only 4. I have only 4 in this. So what I do, I have just directly add into the queue. So in this way, what we will do, just adding into the queue, then I'll start exploring. So finally I'll get this answer. So all the arrays are, sorry, all the vertexes are visited. So it means that one by one I will dequeue the vertex from the queue array. So next we'll go to the breadth first search algorithm. So how it works? So initially what it is, status is 1, set status 1. All the vertex in the graph is set to 1. All the graph is set to 1. Okay, enqueue the starting node A. So what is the first node? So what I will do, I'll do just enqueue and make it as that particular node status as 2. Okay, it means that I have visited. Okay, it means that I have visited. Then I will start exploring. Okay, so who are all the adjacent nodes of A? Okay, repeat steps 4 and 5 until queue is empty. What is meaning actually? So I will, what here, one second, I'll show you here. So I will start what, dequeuing the elements, vertex from the queue and start exploring. So that's what it's mentioning. So once it is visited, this status is changed to 3. So it means it is processed. It means that it will be in the, whoever the node status is 3, it will be in the visited array. It will be in the visited array. Okay, fine. Voice breaking. Now it's the nodes in the in the graph, at one stage all the nodes will be with the status 3. It means that all the nodes or vertex are visited. Okay, so that is this breadth first search algorithm explains. So in the case of step 5 also, enqueue all the neighbors of n that are in the ready state. Okay, so we told that there is an application of breadth first search, right? Application of breadth first search. So this is the given graph, and you have listed the adjacency list also. Parallelly, in the next to that, we have listed that who are all connected to each and every vertex. Okay, here we are using two arrays. One is Q and origin. So the what is the final goal of this? We are going to find the minimum stops. Okay, between two different cities. So we are considering each and everything is a city. Fly from city A to I with minimum stops. Nothing but shortest distance. We can say like that shortest path to reach vertex I from A. I want to reach from A to I. This is my uh, task now. So I'm going to work on that. So we are going to use the BFS. So while Q is used to both hold the nodes that have to be processed. Okay, here why here the Q is nothing but, so who are the nodes to be processed? It is meaning that the nodes in the queue will be in the waiting state. It is the status 1. Okay, once I dequeue once I dequeue the element, it means that I have visited. Okay, so origin is used to keep track of the origin of each edge. Okay, initially front and rear is -1. Okay, so add A to Q. Okay, add A to Q. So initially I'm taking A, no vertex A, and enqueue into the Q data Q array. Dequeue a node by setting front equal to front plus 1. Yes. So what will I do? I will dequeue a node by setting front equal to front plus 1, removing the front element of the queue, and enqueue the neighbors of A. Okay. So who are the neighbors of A? Who are the neighbors of A? B, C, D. So B, C. So once I start come to know A, so who are the neighbors of A? I'm enqueuing B, C, D. Okay, and I'm writing the origin. So who is the origin of B? A, right? Who is the origin of C? A. Who is the origin of D? A. So that's what is showing, right? So meanwhile you can change the value of front and rear where actually it is pointing. Okay. Next, dequeue a node by setting front equal to front plus 1 and enqueue the neighbors of B. Next, what is the meaning? Actually, what is according to BFS? What will I do? Once I visited A and explored all the neighbor nodes of A, then what will I do? I will take the first neighbor. Okay, start exploring the neighbors of B. Okay, start exploring the neighbors of B. So who are all the neighbors of B? Only one neighbor, right? E. Only E it is having. Okay, only it is E is having. So that's what. For B, so I'm doing? I'm enqueuing the neighbor of B, right? That is E. Okay. Then who is the origin of E? B. So that's what I'm writing here, right? Fine. Like that, you have to keep on. Next, what should I do? I should take C. Okay, because B is over. Next, I have to take the second adjacent vertex of A. Okay, that is C. Okay. Then I start exploring the adjacents of C. Who is adjacent of C? Who is adjacent of C? That is B and G, I think so. Yes, here is written clearly. Okay, so B, and G. This is the adjacent of C. One second. So one B and who are the adjacent? Once again, I'll see. It's not moving. Okay. B and G. So here I cannot write B again. Why? Because B is visited, right? See, next to E, I'm writing only G. Okay. Why? Because I cannot repeat B here because B is already visited. So I'm ignoring the B. Only G I'm writing, right? While writing the adjacent of C, it will be B and G, but I'm ignoring B. Why? Because it is already visited. I'm writing only G. And again, writing the origin of G. The origin of G is what? C. That's what, simple. So then next, what will I do? I'll take the node, third adjacent node D. Okay, start exploring the adjacent nodes of D. So like that, I'll keep on writing. So uh, D, okay. Then start exploring. When I am writing a D, it happens that I come to know that F is there. Okay, F is added into the queue. Okay, then I keep on, I will explore, right? Once it is over, then I have to take what? So once this are over, then I will go for E. Okay, and start exploring this. Who are all the adjacent nodes of E? So like that, I'll go on. So finally, I'll get this stage. Finally, it means that all the nodes are visited. See, in Q, we can find that all the nodes are visited. Once it is visited, then I have to find what is our actual goal is to find the path from minimum path from A to I. Minimum path from A to I. So I. So who is the origin of I? G. Okay. Come, you backtrack. You backtrack now. Okay. Who is the origin of I? It is G. Then go to G. Backtrack it. Okay. Who is the origin of G? C. Backtrack it. Who is the origin of C? A. So this is the our source and this is the destination, right? So now we find that the path, the minimum distance from A to I is this one. A to C, C to G, G to A. There will be maybe several paths, but by using the breadth first search, I can able to find the minimum path. Okay, the shortest path to reach I from A. So this is the application of breadth first search. Okay, is it understood?